Hi, this is Jan Miller from NEWBI Systems. I'm really pleased to be with Josh Carpenter. He is our expert in social media marketing. Josh's company is Impact Image Marketing. So I'd like to welcome you, Josh. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to talk to me. And if you would tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm originally from Orange County, California. I moved to Vegas basically after the military. And then when I came out here, I decided that it has always been my dream to be in business. Ever since I was 12 years old, I really wanted to be a business owner. I believe my first experience was going into a Taco Bell with my mom, and she asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And because I ate the food so much, and I love Taco Bell because my mom never cooked, I decided that owning a Taco Bell seemed good at the age of 12. So I told her that I wanted to own a Taco Bell, and she ended up getting the manager of the Taco Bell, and we started talking about franchising, and that's where my passion for business really began. So moving forward, after high school, I joined the U.S. Navy, got stationed in Yokosuka, Japan, and got to really see the world and see different cultures, which was really exciting. In addition to that, I came to Vegas in 1999, and I decided to move here because it was really booming. California, the cost of living was getting high and it was getting crazy. In 2002, I went to Las Vegas College, which is now Everest College, and studied business administration with a minor in marketing, and got my degree in that. From there, I started my first company, which was called S&M Consulting Social Network Marketing. And this company was created during the time that I was going to school, so I was actually applying the information as I was learning it, which really helped me in evolving faster and really just moving forward. From there, I dissolved that company and started Impact Image Marketing, geared it more towards education and culture. And since then, I've created a workshop called the Social Media Revolution Workshop, and that's my journey thus far.
Thank you, Josh. So why social media?
When I was growing up, I was always considered the social outcast, if you will, never really accepted by one particular clique. And so I was very introverted at a young age. And social media actually, as I got older and as I really started understanding the use of it, it gave me the outlet to be an extrovert. It gave me the outlet to be able to talk to people in different countries, and it didn't limit me to my demographic. And because of that, I have got to talk to a lot of cultures. I speak to people all around the world, and it's exciting to me. I love it.
That's great. So let's level set. For someone who may not be of the social media generation, how do we define social media? What is social media?
Well, originally, if we look back to what it originally started for, Mark Zuckerberg, back in the 1990s, actually created Facebook. And when he did it, he was doing it for university students to find a way to connect with each other. So that college guy didn't have to go to the girl and say, you know, are you in a relationship? He could go to her profile and view her. And colleges started using this as an internal database in order to connect with each other. From there, it grew, and it went into more of a social atmosphere that exploded like they didn't even expect. And businesses decided that, hey, we can do this to connect with our customers. So going from the concept of where it started, which is just communicating to everyday people and building relationships, not just intimate relationships, but friendships and talking to classmates, old friends, all of that kind of stuff. And it went from that to evolving into really reaching us and what we want and what we're looking for in our business services that we get. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to get my vehicle worked on, and very, very nervous going in because I didn't feel I could trust mechanics. I felt they were out to get me. Social media became that outlet where I could know everything about them before I go to them. And I think that's where the use is. It opens that communication, and it's forced companies to have to really focus on the primary objective, which is the overall customer and their satisfaction and experience.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. So, in some of your communication with me, you've talked about social media philosophy. So, can you, for our listeners, give a little bit of background on social media philosophy?
Yes, social media philosophy stems from the theory of it's not about technology so much as it is about psychology and sociology. So when we look at that, we're dealing with people that are actually wanting to be talked to like a normal person, not to be marketed to. It's a place for a genuine forum for people to get together and communicate. And it's that philosophy that when you look on social media, you see these quotes and you see heartfelt pictures and intimate photos that people are sharing of themselves, where 15, 20 years ago, nobody would have wanted to do that because they would have been too scared. Technology may have been a fear for them. They might not understand it as much, so it's become a lot more user-friendly now. So there's a lot of different situations where people are able to take this technology now and make it as an extension of themselves and their personality and who they are. And when you realize that you're expressing yourself in a digital way, if we look back in history, it's no different than the Egyptians did, or the Mayans, or the Native Americans. They all had hieroglyphics or some kind of message that they had left behind for future generations, and that's what we're doing.
The difference is, of course, that we have moving pictures instead of painted pictures on the wall.
Yeah, we've advanced a little bit more from a rock to a computer screen, and soon I believe we'll be getting into the age of holographs and teleportation. So that's a little too much for you right now, bro.
I did see that on some of your your literature, and I don't know if I'm ready for the teleportation, but I can appreciate the science of it.
Yes, definitely.
So let's move a little bit into business. So social media as a tool for business. What's possible for a business? So if I'm a tradesperson, if I'm a plumber or an electrician, what can social media do for me?
Social media is going to allow you to get to customers that you normally wouldn't be able to reach. So if you're a mechanic, the old way of marketing was having a billboard next to your location and throwing some advertisements in your local newspaper and penny savers and all these other different things that they had. I believe Nifty Nickel was actually one. And this was the form that local businesses used, even to the Yellow Pages. I don't want to say the Yellow Pages is getting obsolete because they actually hopped on the digital bandwagon, and now Yellow Pages has their own apps and their own functionality. So it is a great tool that is continuously used, but if we look at it from its old form of a phone book, it's changed a lot since then. And industries like mechanics that aren't very tech savvy per se, it gives them an easy to use outlet without having to be a technical wizard. And all they need to know is just the basics of it and why they're even using it. And when it all comes down to it, it comes down to your customers and customer satisfaction and making sure that you're getting the feedback that you need to make your company a better place and a place where people want to come and value your service and will be repeat customers, they'll be loyal, and they'll refer people to you. And that's the ultimate prize out of all of it, is that you retain good customer loyalty, which in turn gives you more money. So,
which of course is the name of the game.
Exactly.
So what about someone who might be a professional, like a doctor or a lawyer, or someone who's in a regulated industry, like an insurance agent or the finance industry, finance professionals? How can they use social media?
You bring a very valid point there. A lot of those industries actually aren't geared towards using Facebook, and the reason for that is because there are so many privacy laws and the HIPAA Act and client confidentiality, and the list goes on and on. So there's been LinkedIn has really set the foundation as the professional #1 go-to social media platform out there, where you're not sharing your everyday things, but you're giving a list of your accolades, credibilities, and you're reaching different business owners and companies that are geared towards utilizing your services, referring you, giving you endorsements in order to build your credibility. It allows you to have your own business page on LinkedIn in order to tell people specifically where they can go to drive traffic to your website. So when we look at that as a tool, it really is the best place for professionals to go to connect with people. There are other platforms such as skill pages where you can go onto a page and it'll give you your credibility of all the people that endorse you for what you do. There's so many different other platforms that you can use outside of Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. It's just using it in the right form that your industry is using it in. And I know that a lot of companies are starting to use meeting scheduling and meeting platforms in order to send with their clients, so they don't have to continuously try to catch up. They'll get a pop-up for whatever meeting is going to happen, conference call, webinar, and it's the greatest way to be able to connect through social media, is like we're doing now.
So you mentioned something, and it really popped an idea for me, so I'd like to kind of step back a little bit. Let's talk about one of the words that you just used is platform. So I have really two questions. Can you define platform for someone who may not be tech savvy or may not be social media savvy? And then also, you kind of alluded to it about choosing your platform wisely. I think this is something that you teach in your courses. So if you could just give us a little bit on that, please.
Okay. Platform refers to the social site that you're going on. In the speaker world, they also ask, are you speaking on the platform, which the platform being the stage. So when we say platform in social media, we mean that the stage of that particular website. So Facebook is a platform, Twitter is a platform, Pinterest is a platform. And these are what we use in order to create multiple accounts to have our own hub, if you will. A hub being a network. So if you see yourself in the center and everything around you is your network, that is your hub. And that is the ultimate goal, because that's where you're going to reach most of the people, is getting them into your hub. And a hub is created through multiple platforms. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think you've actually answered a couple of my questions. So one of my questions is, do I need more than one platform? And if you have this hub that you're talking about, that would mean that might be me in the center, but I have all these other platforms that provide an outlet for me to get my message out to potential customers. Does that sound right?
Yes, actually, it's important to have as many platforms that your industry allows, because that's what's going to increase your search engine optimization, which is when people type you into Google, that's the result they're going to get. Is so, as an example, if you're impact image marketing and you type that into Google, you'll get LinkedIn impact image marketing, Google Plus, Pinterest. I think probably the website is like the fifth item down. So my organic SEO has actually topped my my URL domain, my website address. It's topped that because it's more use than my website is, and that's what keeps you on the top of the list and keeps you going and gives you more search results. The more platforms or the more social media websites that you're attached to, the more you're going to show up in the search results.
Thanks, Josh. So if I were someone who says, I just need, I want the best. I want, what's the one best thing for my business? And I say thing because I don't want to say, what's the one best platform? In this case, which one's the best?
There's this, there's a question that I ask to the audience when I give my keynote speeches, and I ask, what is the greatest computer out there? So I'm going to ask that question to you. What is the greatest computer out there?
Well, Josh, I actually cheated because I read a lot of the material that you shared with me. So I do know the answer, and I agree with you.
Lead into it for me, and then that'll answer your question.
Well, the greatest computer is your mind, imagination, innovation. That is the computer. And I know that you have a lot of statistics on that. So
Exactly.
back over to you.
So as we look at what's the best platform, I believe personally it's the best platform that is going to express your company, and engage your customers the most. YouTube and video have taken over, so if you have editing ability or you have someone that's doing your video, I'll use video a lot with my clients in order to help them get, one, the search engine optimization, which is the Google ranking, and two, to really convey, it's what conveys our feeling, our emotion. As you're talking to me right now in the camera, you're actually getting to see the part of me that you wouldn't be able to see on a normal phone call, a regular phone call. And that's why video is so impactful, because we get to see that emotion, and consumers actually buy based on emotion. They buy based on what they believe that the product or the service can do for them. Does that kind of answer it?
Yeah, that sounds really good. And I know it's been said that people don't necessarily buy your product, they buy you. They buy that trust in you, especially
Exactly.
when you look intellectual property type, or marketing type work, like we do, that people are trusting us, they're buying us.
Exactly. So really, when I get a client and they're asking me what platform should I go on, I base it upon how much of a public figure are they, and because that really has a lot to do with it. There's a lot of business owners out there that don't want to present themselves as the actual business owner. They don't want to be the public figure of the company, and it's because of that it takes the genuineness out of it. So I do encourage a lot of business owners to really step up and be the face of their company and the face of their brand. And if you're doing that on social media, if you're connecting with people like that on forums such as, you know, Facebook or Google Plus or Pinterest, these are platforms that are going to allow you to be able to connect with people not only just in an emotional way, but also in a genuine way that they can understand and feel comfortable with that light, trust, and respect value that we all look for when we go to buy a product.
Yeah, I hear you. So is there, well, let me back up. You know, on Facebook, there's always that chronic oversharer. Everybody has one in their life, someone that you really love, but you kind of scroll through their posts because you really don't want to know that the cat got sick on the carpet this morning, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible within business to be that chronic oversharer, whether it's within a platform or across platforms?
Yes, you bring up another valid point there. When you look at someone's Facebook page and you see quote, 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 you're not going to want to go there because you know it's just going to be about quotes. So if I want something interesting, I'll go visit John Smith because he always posts quotes. If you continue to be innovative in what you post and posting different things such as videos, photos, testimonials, do a follow me day, create different kinds of campaigns that engage people and let them know that you're doing different things and you're not just the same boring company doing what every other marketer out there is doing, which is just pitching you and pitching you and pitching you. That's not what it's about. It's like, as I said, it's not about the marketing or the technology. It's about the psychology and the sociology, and I really believe in that. And if you're using that to connect with your customers and you're not trying to pitch them every moment of every day, and you're putting some personal content or achievements or accolades that you may have received, you're motivating your customer base to want to achieve some of the things that you may have achieved. So, to give you an example, I went skydiving, and I use that as a marketing piece in order to help people push past their fears of social media. Not very many people will, you know, take a risk and do something and post it. I've climbed Red Rock and taken pictures of that, which is out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to share your life and still inspire people to want to go with your company and go with your service and really become a trusted name and know that there's more to you than just a pitch.
Very good. Thanks. I do want to step away, just kind of go a little different direction. A couple of things that I saw in, a couple of topics that I saw in your materials. You talk about social media etiquette. So can you just give us a little bit, I know it's probably a very deep subject, probably a lot to say, but can you give us just a little bit of a taste of some of the, you know, highlights of what is social media etiquette? What are some of the main pitfalls to be careful of?
Yes. The way that I like to describe social media etiquette is if Facebook is your house and the wall of your Facebook or your profile is the door to that house, when I enter that door, I'm going to be just as respectful as if I was entering your actual physical house. I would not go in and I would not write on your walls. I wouldn't put my feet up on your table. And when we think about it from that perspective, then it seems more logical that it's just common sense. You don't want to post marketing stuff on people's walls because that's just like throwing graffiti. You want to do that in a private message. When you're speaking to people, you don't want to use, foul language or anything that throws you off. You don't want to attract negative energy to your page or to yourself by posting negative news clippings, or videos that insult, not insult, excuse me, videos that insult people based on race, religion, any of that kind of stuff. When your political views, can really drown people out. Religious views can drown people out. The less political and the less religious you are, unless you're a church or you're following things that you've done in a church congregation or something like that. That's one thing, but to continuously keep posting that your beliefs down somebody is very rude. And I believe when you look at it just from a level of respect, I believe that's what etiquette's all about, not only just on social media, but also in our everyday lives and who we meet in public. So give the people the same respect that you'd give them if they were in person.
Thank you. Thanks for answering that. Okay, another item that I saw is a little bit about social jargon. So in my career, there are a lot of words that we use that are shorthand within a culture or a community. Within social media, I'm assuming there's some of that as well. Can you give us a couple of the biggies of social jargon, and also how do we recognize it? How do we learn about it? Is there a social jargon dictionary?
It's funny you say that. I had actually looked to see if there was a social jargon dictionary. And in my search about 2 years ago, I didn't see anything, and I had actually started writing my own table of contents, if you will, on the different types of social media language that's out there. So as an example, tagging people. A lot of people wonder, what is tagging? Well, it's basically letting someone know or getting their attention. Hashtagging, what's the difference between that? It's the same concept as directing you to something. That's what hashtagging is. Posting, that's just what you're going to type and what you're going to send out there to people. Then you have, when it gets into animations and emoticons, and like you were saying with shorthands, there's LOL, which means laugh out loud, and BTW, by the way. There's so many different ones out there. Until you immerse yourself in it, you're really not going to learn the jargon. It's kind of like if I want to learn Spanish, I'm going to go be around people that speak Spanish so I can get a little accustomed to the language and be able to at least generally communicate with people on just a basic level. So I do encourage people to interact and to really just experience what it's like, so you can kind of get that understanding when people are speaking to you.
Okay, thanks. So now we've talked about, we kind of know what social media is, we have the philosophy, we know a little bit about how it might help my business one way or the other, and we've talked about being generous and the etiquette and being respectful of people. A little bit about the language, and there are all these platforms. How do we put all of this together and grow a network?
If you are technical savvy, one of the things you could do is you could go onto YouTube and you could do what I did and self-teach yourself and go through the various trainings and time that it would take in order to acclimate yourself with what you're going to need in order to get out there. I've been doing this for over 5 years, so for me it took me at least 2 years of self-teaching in order to get to an intermediate level with social media. So it would take a lot of time if you went in that direction. If you want to shortcut it, the other option would be to get a coach, get someone to teach you, join a workshop, and really find out the core areas of what it is that you need to know in order to get you started and just to get a basic understanding of what it is and what's needed to get your work out there. content is king in the area of social media, so make sure that you have tons of content. If you don't have content, my first suggestion is to create that. What I mean by content is vision statements, mission statements, videos, pictures, all of your basic information that people would need in order to contact you. This is all what you're going to put out there to the world to tell them, hey, I'm here. So what is that information? And have that ready. If you have that ready and you decide that you don't want somebody to manage it for you and you would like to manage it yourself, there are several social media management platforms out there, such as Hootsuite, Buffer, and also a new one that's coming out, which is called Social Zing. So there's a lot of great platforms that are coming out that can take care of a multitude of different tasks, such as emails, text messaging, getting pages up onto your fan pages. So there's little tabs where you can have pages within your fan page. So there's so many different areas to go. It really just depends on what you want to do. Do you want to learn it, or do you want to have someone do it for you? And do you have enough content? And I think if you ask yourself those 3 questions and you can answer that, then you'll have a better direction on where you want to go.
Okay, so let's say I'm somewhat tech savvy, and maybe I have some blogs and I have some video and I have, a little of this and a little of that. One of these platforms would basically help me that I put my content into this platform, and then within this platform it moves that out into the social media world. That it would post it on Facebook or create a LinkedIn article, or whatever my social media outlets are. This software, this platform is going to help me get that out into those other ones. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes, it's basically a way in order to take your content and schedule it out in pieces throughout the day or throughout the week or throughout the month. So that way you're not sitting there every day taking your 10 minutes out to post something. It will automatically post for you. The one mistake that people tend to make is they use social media management programs, but they forget to actually go on to their social media platforms and to engage. And that's what it's all about. It's not about telling people, it's about listening and then responding. So if you're just telling people and using these social media managers, then you're lacking one of the most important things that there is out there, and that's engagement. So use these as a tool, but don't use these as a replacement. And I have to stress that that's really important.
Okay, so to put it another way, the platform will allow me to start the conversation. I'm asking the question, or I'm making a statement, and you can't have a conversation unless there's somebody that comes back with an opposing opinion or a question or whatever. And that's really where you start to build your network, because you ask a question, they answer, you respond, and now you're starting to build a relationship. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I know as you were going through this, I was kind of going through my checklist of items that a person needs to know or needs to have available to them in order to talk to someone if you're going to hire a professional. So your checklist it's fairly straightforward in that you have to have your company information and contact information, a mission statement, a website, things like that. Um, how do I know enough if I'm going to hire someone? How do I know that this is the person I should hire? I mean, if I'm going to interview someone, what are some good tips or questions or just what are your criteria that you would recommend for a newbie as they are going out and hiring? Hey, I have to get the plug in there somehow. As they're
Right.
going out to hire that person to help them with their social media marketing.
I've worked with a lot of public figures in doing their social media, and one of the things that I've learned is that you're speaking for them, and you really have to have the communication to understand what you're conveying not only to your social media manager or technical person, but also what you're conveying out to the entire world. And if you don't have some type of approval system or something where you're working in knowing what's going out there to the world or what your social media manager is putting out there, you really want to get involved because it's your message, it's your company, and just as if anyone was going to work for you, you would want to know that they're running it in a way that relates to your ethics and to the way that you really want to convey your message for your company or your service or your product. So in that sense, really get comfortable, get to know the person, look at their credibility throughout other social media, check them out on Yelp. They get reviews just the same as any other restaurant or brick and mortar company would. Find out if there's recommendations, see if there's testimonials on them. Find out what past clients they've had. Really do your research like you would if you were going to get a dentist or a mechanic or a doctor. It's not something that you would just rush into if you really want it to work right and to get the most out of it. So I recommend really building that relationship and that strong communication above anything. And then once you do that, then just making sure that you have the content and the correct message that you want to get out. So I'd have to say, if you're going to start that, as you said, I do have a checklist, and it's about getting everything together and prepared before you even hire somebody. I've had some clients in the past who didn't have a branding logo, or they didn't have mission statements, they didn't have any of that, and they hire me and they say, okay, go out and make my company big, and I'm looking at them going, with what? I have to have something to work from. Just as a car is built, there's material and there's parts for it, and the same things would be needed if you're hiring a social media manager. So make sure that you have all the parts that are needed, or in this case, content, and then connect with them, have a consultation, find out on their end what else that they would need from you, and then go over some strategies and ideas as to where they can take you and how they can help you. One of the #1 things that I don't like about social media managers and that you should stay away from are the ones that say, hey, I can give you 5,000 likes in 2 days. Because genuine relationship is not built in 2 days with people. I may only have 300 people on one of my fan pages, and you as a company can have 10,000. But what good is it going to do you if you're a local business with 9,999 people in India and you only have one person here that likes your page, which is yourself? What good is that doing you? It's not. So don't worry about the numbers in the game. Build the relationships and get the true numbers that matter, which are the people that you can be genuine and really appreciate your product and your time and would refer you.
Okay, so authenticity.
Yes.
Is the key.
Yes.
Okay, I get that. Thank you, Josh. So you've talked about content. Content is king. I get that. I understand that. I think. Let's talk a little bit about content. What is content? Let's go back to our example. We talked about the mechanic. If the mechanic has social media, what is an example of good content for that mechanic, and what's an example of maybe not so good content for that same mechanic?
So if we think about content and what people have put out there in the past, if you're going to put up information on a billboard, there's normally what they call a call to action, something to do. So you want to make sure that you're giving them a call to action to whatever it is. If it's a phone number or a website, or you want them to watch a video, those are things that you really want to enrich your content with. Secondly, video, commercials, pictures. People connect most with images and with video. So you really want to, like, commercials would be a great idea. Having a 30 to 90-second commercial about your company. Do a behind the scenes as to, how does the company run, or, let them know some pictures of the employees. There's a lot of different things that you can use in your everyday surroundings to let people know what it is you're doing, because we don't see what's inside the building. We don't see what's behind the scenes, and you want to make that as true and authentic as possible. You don't want to be the mechanic shop that looks pretty online, but when somebody goes to your shop, it's a nightmare on what they're seeing and it doesn't even match. Or if you're a hairstylist that's putting pictures of haircuts you've never even done and posing it as your own, and then when you get your haircut there, it's horrible. These are really the things that people want to know. They want to know the behind the scenes. They want to know what you've done. They want to know that you're experienced. And I believe, if that's the content you put out there, then that's what you'll get back, are the customers that feel comfortable with you based upon not only your online presence, but your offline presence.
Okay, thanks. So I'm almost to the end of my list of questions, and I guess I feel like we've skimmed the surface, which is what we were hoping to do today, is just skim the surface of what social media is and how to think about where it belongs in an individual business. Did I miss anything? Is there, again, we're just skimming the surface, but is there an area that maybe a question I should have asked, or something you'd like to convey to our listeners about social media?
Wow. Well, it's like you said, there is a lot of information about social media and what's out there. I know that our time is limited, and everything that we do in our company is structured in a time management form that doesn't allow us much time in order to be as social online as we would like. And so there's a saying that I heard out there, and do the things that you want to do today so your future self will thank you. So I'm not sure if I quote unquote said that correctly, but do something today that your future company or your future self is going to thank you for. And sometimes when we put the time to learn marketing or content creation or learn a little bit about video, not only are we expanding our personal minds and our own personal growth and development, but we're also expanding that information for our company. So be curious, be interesting, and be interested, and really want to do things not only to expand professionally, but to expand personally. And when you do that, you'll have a much greater success than if you're just doing it online and for nobody else but your customers. And customers really see the true you, and they see that development, and they'll continue to follow you. So yeah, I guess that's that's all I can add to that at this time. You still with me?
There you are. I
Ah,
lost you
hello.
for
Mm.